Okay, here is an example problem on bandwidth, and it says that the frequency spectrum of a signal occupies a continuous range of frequencies from 2.407 to 2.409 gigahertz. What is the bandwidth of this signal in units of gigahertz, and then what is the bandwidth in units of megahertz? And then we're supposed to make a plot of the amplitude of the frequency spectrum, which is a constant 5 volts across that range, and they tell us it asks for a particular range, horizontal range on our graph, and a particular vertical range on our graph. The bandwidth of the signal, so the equation for the bandwidth is the high frequency minus the low frequency, and our high and low frequencies are given to us. The high frequency is the 2.409, and the low frequency is the 2.407 gigahertz. And therefore the bandwidth, plugging these values in, is 2.409 minus 2.407, which is 0.002 gigahertz. And then, because megahertz, and it's almost immediately natural to convert this to megahertz, because when megahertz is 1,000 times smaller than gigahertz, and therefore when you do your gigahertz value with 3 decimal places, this number itself is the number of megahertz. Alternatively, I could multiply this number by a conversion factor, which is 1,000 megahertz per 1 gigahertz. Okay, so sort of optionally 1,000 megahertz per 1 gigahertz. I do recommend using these conversion factors sort of carefully like this, just because it really helps avoid mistakes. So here's the value in megahertz, we have it here, and now we can draw this. We're going to draw it from 2400 to 2410 megahertz. You know, this is in the ISM band, of course. Okay, so here's 2400, let's say. 2405, let's say, and 2410 megahertz. Now I could have labeled this graph with gigahertz and gone from 2.400 to 2.405 to 2.410, but I decided, okay, let's just work in the 2000s and use megahertz. Okay, and then I can, and now it wants me to label the vertical axis V as a function of F, the voltage or the signal strength, let's call it voltage. Here's 10, here's 0, here's 5. And the spectrum is non-zero in the range from 7 to 9. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to divide 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to divide each of these into units. And now I have 1 megahertz units here. I have from 2400 to 2410 in units. Each tick mark is 1 megahertz. And my spectrum now is supposed to be reading 5 volts, constant 5 volts across the range of occupied frequencies. Well, the range of occupied frequencies is 2407 to 2409. And so here is my range of frequencies from 2407 F low to 2409 F high, and you can see I tried to get this right at the 5 volt mark. And that's all that this one's asking, to just make this sketch of this frequency spectrum. Okay, well, I hope this helps on this problem.